Cruisers are the most laid-back motorcycles you can buy, and the least performance-oriented. With their low seat heights and relaxed riding positions, their lean angles are limited and their kicked-out front ends do not put enough weight on the front wheel to provide the traction that sport bikes or nakeds enjoy. To be sure, there are performance cruisers like the Triumph Rocket 3 or Harley Davidson Sportster S, but most cruisers are made for, well, cruising. So while they may be able to out-accelerate most cars and carve a corner or two, they are not the best bikes for those jobs. And while good performance never hurt a motorcycle, cruiser or otherwise, neither did good value. My philosophy when buying any vehicle is to get the model that gives you the utility and experience you want for the least money possible. And with cruisers, that is a particularly tough task because the experience is so intangible. It's not tied to specs or performance and can elude many manufacturers. For example, a 20-year-old $4,000 Sportster 883 can, for some riders, deliver a better cruising experience than a new $25,000 Goldwing because it's rougher, lumpier, and louder. It's the inferior motorcycle in every measurable way, but maybe a better cruiser. Similarly, for some riders, a Ducati X Diavel may not be as cool or desirable as a 59 Panhead. Welcome to Cruiserland. So in this video, we'll sort out the intangibles which make cruisers so unique and pick the best value Harley, Indian, power cruiser under 10K, small cruiser, traditional cruiser, bagger, and the best value metric cruiser. So stay tuned, and if you enjoy this content, please consider supporting the small channel by subscribing, liking the video, and sharing it with friends. There are many cruisers out there built by many manufacturers, but there is one company that has fans so loyal that it is the only brand they will consider. And unsurprisingly, that is Harley Davidson. To be clear, Harley Davidson and value do not go together, especially recently. Over the last few years, the company has been trying to position itself as a luxury brand and killing all of its most affordable models. This has backfired as sales have fallen 50% in the last 10 years, but our purpose here is to look at the best value bike in the lineup. There is one that stands out, and that is the Softail Standard at $14,400 US MSRP. This bike is very plain in terms of features and equipment, but on the bright side, it is a great blank canvas. You can turn it into a stylish boulevard cruiser, tourer, chopper, club bike, or what have you. If you're going to get a bike to customize and individualize, why get a fancy one you'll rip apart and rebuild? $14,400 USD is a lot of money, but as far as Harleys go, only the Nightster is less expensive. And the Softail Standard with its 107 cubic inch engine, while probably being slower than a Nightster, is a lot more bike and much closer to what the Harley faithful would consider a traditional Harley. Disclaimer: you will probably never find one of these at a dealership being sold for anywhere near $14,400. Any dealer is likely to jack up the price considerably, but this is the reality of buying a new Harley Davidson these days, so you'll get that with any model. Finally, this bike may not be around much longer. As I said earlier, Harley head office has been working hard to eliminate the last vestiges of affordability from its lineup, so it wouldn't surprise me to see this bike gone or upgraded with a much higher price tag by next year. Get yours ASAP if you want an affordable Harley. On the other hand, if you want an American cruiser but find Harley prices or culture unpalatable, you may want to go with an Indian motorcycle. Only a couple of years ago, Indians were generally as or more expensive than Harleys. But to the company's credit, while Harley has continued to raise prices and double down on its goal to become a premium brand, Indian has kept prices steady and held on to and even expanded its less expensive models. As a result, Indian now has 7 Scout models, all of which are less expensive than the Nightster, the cheapest Harley. Incidentally, the least expensive FTR 1200, which isn't a cruiser, is now the same price as the Nightster, and I dare say it's a better motorcycle. But which of the cruisers in Indian's lineup are the best value? Well, you get a lot for your money with the Scout Bobbers. The Bobber 60, a 1000cc V-twin, is the least expensive Indian, coming in at $10,750 US, which these days, I'm sad to say, is actually a pretty good deal. For an extra $1,500, you can get the regular Scout Bobber, which has the 1133cc engine and 100 horsepower. I've ridden this bike and have to admit, other than the horrible shock, it is very nice. Aside from the Scout bobbers, if you're looking for the best value air-cooled big twin Indian, the standard Chief is a quality motorcycle. There is no fat on this bike. It's got everything you need, including a sweet looking frame and the most attractive V-twin in the business, the Thunderstroke, 111 cubic inches in this case. So, although performance isn't the most important quality in a cruiser, it is nice to have. And since Ducati no longer offers the X Diavo, at least not where I live, the Triumph Rocket 3 is the highest performance cruiser available new these days. But at almost $24,000 USD, it's not really in the running for best value power cruiser. So as far as power cruisers go, if you want top level performance, the Harley Sportster S gives it to you for $16,400 US, which I know isn't cheap, but you have to remember that this is a 120 horsepower Harley with all the electronic bells and whistles. Inexpensive? No. But good value for that level of performance? Yeah, maybe. And maybe someday it'll be a cult classic, like the V-Rod. If you're looking for a power cruiser under 10K though, there is no beating the Honda Rebel 1100. I've tested this bike on this channel in both standard and mini bagger T designation and really liked both models. Check out those videos in the top right corner. For 9.5K USD, the standard Rebel is light, flickable, and charges hard. This being the motor from the Africa Twin, it doesn't look like a cruiser engine, but when you give her, this thing is more than willing. Of any cruiser I've ridden, this motorcycle feels the most like a naked bike when charging through the twisties. Honorable mention has to go to the 650cc Kawasaki Vulcan S, which feels like a smaller Rebel 1100 and has surprising performance for its $7,350 USD MSRP. And keeping up with the Kawasaki theme, the best small cruiser on offer right now is the 452cc Eliminator. I've spent only a short time on this bike, but it is clear that Kawasaki is targeting the Honda Rebel 500 with this one, and it is also clear that they hit the mark. The bored-out Ninja 400 motor feels clearly stronger than the 471cc Honda, and the Eliminator's handling was superior as well. If you're looking for a smaller A2 compliant cruiser, the Eliminator for $6,650 US punches way above its weight. But none of these power cruisers are very traditional, and if you're looking for something that would not have looked out of place in a lineup of bikes in the 1960s, the aforementioned liquid-cooled machines won't do. Now last year, Royal Enfield released its Super Meteor 650 cruiser with that clean air-cooled parallel twin looking like it came off a 1960s Bonneville. And this is certainly a strong contender for best value traditional cruiser available right now. It is beautiful, has that old school character, and starts at $7,000 US MSRP. It's got enough power for 2-up and for the highway and has plenty of variants and accessories to choose from. However, the Super Meteor does not get this spot to itself because there's another great value traditional cruiser that I had to consider in this category, and quite frankly, I couldn't decide between the two, so we have a tie. The other top value traditional cruiser is an old standby that often gets overlooked, the Yamaha Bolt. At $8,900 USD, this bike is more expensive than the Super Meteor, but it does have a larger engine, an air-cooled 950cc V-twin, and like the Super Meteor, it has the look. Critics will say that it's a copy of the Sportster 883 Iron, but it's more powerful, more reliable, better handling, and less expensive than the Iron was. And besides, Harley killed the Iron, so if you want a bike like this new, this is the only game in town. This bike's silhouette looks great, the aftermarket is plentiful, and if you want to go cruising with your big bike buddies but don't want to part with 20 plus grand, this is your ride. It looks great, sounds good, and is infinitely reliable and customizable. Both the Bolt and the Super Meteor provide the average rider with a properly traditional cruiser you can save up for and buy for cash rather than going into indentured servitude to finance. So what about the most popular cruisers right now, baggers? Well, other than a mini bagger like the $11,300 Honda Rebel 1100T DCT, you're not going to find an inexpensive bagger on the market, certainly not a big one. The closest you will come is the Kawasaki Vaquero 1700, which I tested this past summer, link in the top right corner. But even that bike's MSRP is an eye-watering $19,100 USD. So as far as value is concerned, if you're going to spend that much money on a new bagger, you might as well spend a bit more and get a standard Harley Street or Road Glide for $22,000. These bikes both sport the 107 cubic inch Milwaukee 8 engine and plenty of standard features that will make a cross-continent tour a pleasant experience. They have an enormous aftermarket, they will hold their value over the years, and they are Harleys, so there's that. I know that it's pie in the sky to hope to find one for anywhere near MSRP, but that's just life when you want a new Harley. And like with the Softail standard, if you want one, you should definitely get one sooner than later, because Harley's allergy to lower priced bikes might mean that they won't be around for long. And even though the Kawasaki Vaquero did not win the best value bagger, I have to give a shout out to its full-dressed cousin, the Kawasaki Voyager 1700. Basically the same bike, which also comes with a taller windshield, passenger floorboards, a more comfy 2-up seat, a trunk and backrest for your passenger, engine and bag guards, and running lights. And all of that for only $700 USD more than the Vaquero. At $19,800, the Voyager is by far the best value on a full dresser on the market today. So even though I've mentioned plenty of metric, read non-American cruisers in this video, the best value ones in my opinion come down to 4 bikes, 2 of which I've already covered, the Royal Enfield Super Meteor and the Yamaha Bolt. However, I have to mention 2 more that stand out. Honda still makes 2 versions of its 750cc liquid-cooled Shadow, the classically styled Aero and the newly introduced Phantom Bobber. Both are good-looking bikes and cost between $8 and $8.4K US. And since we have not yet mentioned Suzuki, here it is. There are those riders who prefer to tour on a cruiser but don't want to be looking at the large dash of a bagger on their journey. They'd prefer a bike that comes standard with a windshield and bags. And for a mere $10,360 USD, you can get the Boulevard C50T, T for touring, a good-looking, reliable bike that can cruise 2-up on the highway all day. And it has white walls, sweet. So did I leave anything out? Best value chopper? There's only one factory chopper on the market, the $11,500 Honda Fury, still on sale in the United States for some reason. This is the worst handling production motorcycle in the world right now, so unless the only thing you want to do is pose, I'd stay away from that one. Choppers are so early 2000s. So which cruiser is the best value overall depends on what you are looking for. But if I was looking to spend my hard-earned money on a cruiser right now, I'd want something with a big air-cooled motor and a lot of attitude. And for me, the 2 bikes that meet that criteria are the Harley Softail Standard and the Indian Chief. I'd lean towards the Indian because it's a bit nicer. But what about you? What do you consider the best current value cruiser on sale? Please share your picks in the comments below. Thanks for watching, potato on, and may the spokes be with you.